Hi, I'm Sean McDonald. I'm a proprietor here at Red Medicine Recording in Pittsburgh. My musical life started as a touring drummer, a session drummer. Got to travel the world, see a lot of things, and then I transitioned to producing records and making music with others. And on the topic of music, I take it very, very seriously, as it's all I'm leaving behind. And as part of my work, I'm a bit of a multi-instrumentalist. Play a little bit of guitar, a little bit of keyboard, and that's where I came in contact with my Hammond organ. As recording engineer, I need to have a decent facility of all of this analog gear and electronics. And when some of that gets above me and beyond my abilities, I need to call in experts, like in the case of my Hammond organ.
I know that you knew Don Polito because we discussed him and his appearances here at your studio and other places that you had worked. Isn't that true?
Yeah, my first experience with Don was early 2000s. I was producing a music show down at the Benham Center here in Pittsburgh. It was an oldies doo-wop show for PBS. So anything audio was under my purview, the mics and the recording and the instruments. And we got about 12 acts on the show. We got about 3/4 through the acts. And the Hammond, the local backline provided Hammond and drum set and all that stuff. The Hammond organ went down. So everybody kind of freaked out because, you know, without a Hammond organ, you don't have an oldies doo-wop show.
This is a Houston, we have a problem moment.
Yeah, like everybody, as you do when you're recording these live things, there's probably 50 inputs of bass drum, snare drum, hi-hat, tambourine, you know, glockenspiel. And I go to the Hammond and it's horrible hum. So we have to shine the Hammond, we can't use it. Contact the local backline provider, and they sent up the bat signal, and here comes, didn't know him at the time, but here comes Don Polito down to save the day. He was probably there within an hour and doing what Don does, quickly ascertaining the issue, and then, you know, repairing the problem. I want to say it was maybe, you know, 4 o'clock, something like that, and doors were at 7. So he worked on it for about an hour, and we were up and running. He saved the day. Audience was none the wiser, and we had a doo-wop show.
And am I right, Sean, that you also had reason to deal with Don Polito here at the Red Medicine studio?
Yeah, he was here at the studio. Fast forward to about 15 years ago when I bought my first Hammond organ here for the studio. Yeah. It was in bad shape. It had been in some old lady's basement and you know, cats living on it and stuff. Needed tons of work, and Don was the guy that you would call. So brought him in, and while he was here, I brought up those recordings, those PBS recordings that we did at the Benham the day he saved the day by fixing that backline instrument. And he was so into what the organ sounded like, first of all, and all the digital technology, because Don was real knowledgeable about the analog end of things. So I was able to show him, well, here's the digital version of this compressor that you know. Here's the digital version of this EQ you know. So he was really, I could see that he was really into both the music and the technology. We sat back behind the console for 45 minutes, pulling up different things and fooling with balances. He was really into, for an older guy, he really embraced what you could do with the current digital technology.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Sean, you were around Don a handful of times, usually surrounding service work. What did you learn from Don?
Hardworking guy. He was here all damn day. Him and his assistant wanted to get it right. And that stuck with me. A lot of service guys, you don't get that kind of work ethic from. So that's something that really I was impressed with. Didn't know anything about a Hammond organ. Didn't know what to turn on, where to push. It was my first experience with him as an owner. He schooled me, took time, explained how things worked, and gave me a little bit of history. And I really needed that, because as a new owner of this thing, how do you feed it? How do you take care of it? You know, when do you groom it? I didn't know anything about owning the pet. He educated me on all that stuff, yeah.
What do you miss about Don?
He was a guy you could count on. I mean, in this day and age of computer technology and all that stuff, there's tons of guys for that. But the guys that really know this old technology, it's a lost art. Whether it's an old tube microphone made in the 60s or the 50s, or these, you know, keyboards made in the 50s. These guys are a rare breed, and it's sad that we're losing. And I'll miss his artistry, and he always was very kind to me. I miss hanging out with him and listening to those old PBS recordings that we did, and how into it he was. He really shined when he was listening to that stuff. I miss that.
Did you ever hear Don play?
He played a little bit here while he was working on my Hammond, but didn't really hear any music till some of the footage I've seen for this video we're putting together here. And, you know, I knew there was nuance in the instrument. I've seen people play the instrument, but really his mastery of the instrument, how he could squeeze subtle differences out of it, and the joy. You can see hopefully you'll see the shot in this program of him smiling with his hands up. Instantaneously, you see, here's a guy that's loving what he's doing. Really, it was who he was, yeah.
You've stressed Don's work ethic and Don's accountability. Would you agree with me that if we could clone Don Polito into HVAC consultant, plumbing consultant, electrician consultant,
anything,
landscaping consultant,
yeah,
automobile repair, would you agree that we would benefit from a Don Polito in every profession where you actually had to show up and do it right?
I'm dealing with it right now, trying to find an electrician, put new lights in my basement. If there was a Don Polito I could call up of equivalent knowledge, work ethic, promptness, he was always on time. If I could find an electrician like that, yeah, the world would be a great place.